wish that I could just wish away my feelings, but I can't.
Sand hurts my feelings.
I don't like sand,
Hurts my
sand.
feelings.
Haunted by big sand in my very soul. Sand. Are you suffering as much as I am?
Sand
I
hurts
can't
my
breathe.
feelings.
Tormenting me. I'm in
Sand
agony.
hurts my feelings.
I don't like sand.
Hello, and welcome to the Sand Hurts My Feelings, a Star Wars podcast from a Swiftie point of view. I am your host, Alex.
And I am your other host, Sarah. And today we're going to be taking a look at Padmé Amidala and the connections to Speak Now, Taylor's version. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. We're doing good. And yeah, we're doing good. We're getting close to spring break. I'm excited. We've got March, April, May left of school, so I'm excited.
Yeah, starting countdown.
Starting the count. I mean, the countdown's been started since day started, but but yeah, I'm doing all right. How are you doing, Sarah?
I'm doing okay. Definitely appreciating here as we get each day a little bit closer to spring. Excited to hear what comes out of Star Wars Celebration this year. That's coming up in about a month.
Oh yeah.
Because right after that, then we get Andor Season 2. So, I'm also very excited
Yeah,
for that. That's right on the heels of Celebration. So even if we don't hear anything exciting at Celebration, which highly doubt, we're going to get something exciting coming out of Celebration.
Yeah, we're in the middle of our Andor rewatch.
Yeah.
So that's really good too.
Yes.
We're rewatching every Tuesday. We started later than most people. We started in the middle of February because most people started on January 29th or whatever that Tuesday was, and we decided we wanted to watch the first three episodes of Andor all at once, and then we'll not watch because it's better pacing and everything is better as a 3-episode drop as it was released.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we've been watching one episode every Tuesday since to get back into our Star Wars Tuesdays.
Yes, it's been too long since I've seen Andor. So it is a lot of fun for me to revisit.
Yeah. Yeah, we're so excited for Andor Season 2. Yeah. All right. So now we can shift into our wonderful discussions about Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, starting off talking about our first reactions and first feelings around the movies this season. So now we're on Return of the Jedi. Alex, what do you remember from your first experiences watching?
So this is actually the one that I remember the most as a kid. There's a lot of good things, and I wouldn't say bad, but a lot of things that I remember about it I was terrified of the Rancor.
That's fair.
And I routinely hid behind the couch as the Rancor scene happened and had to have my brother or somebody else who was watching with me let me know is it over yet? Is it over yet? And then I finally could come out and
that just makes me
be
think of a
okay.
Taylor Swift song. Is it over now?
Yes. But yeah, so that was my biggest memory. But this is also, I think, the movie that I watched the most. Not maybe necessarily all the way through, but I loved that final sequence, that final battle sequence with the Ewoks, with the space battle, with Luke and Vader and Palpatine. It was amazing, and I jammed to this all the way through, other than the scariness of the Rancor. Yeah, that one again, I still don't do scary movies, so that is not a surprise that the Rancor got me. It's again tells you how really well done it was, even though a lot of people were disappointed in it they thought it didn't look realistic enough. Well, looked looked realistic enough for me. So, and then I've actually grown to have a much wider appreciation of this film because as I've grown older, I've been able to analyze a little bit more the throne room battle and also how amazing the Ewoks are and how so many people are well, they're just teddy bears. I'm they're the greatest tactical advanced assault team ever. and if they had access to ships, they would overtake the galaxy. Like, they are so smart. Like, I could go into a whole rant on how amazing and tactically brilliant they are. So, again, amazing, and it's not just because they're teddy bears, it's because they are amazing and can kill the Empire, basically.
Yeah.
So, how was your experience, Sarah?
I remember having a lot of fun with Return of the Jedi. I remember liking the Ewoks, but I also remember it feeling a little long. I think because we get kind of disjointed, because it's like we have this whole scene on Tatooine, and then that wraps up. And then we have like the 3 parts of the throne room, the space battle, and the Battle of Endor. And it's like, the way it's edited, it's like you just get enough into the one and you get settled in and cozy, and then they switch to a different part of the battle. And so I remember it feeling a little long. But I really enjoyed it. I think my favorite moments were with Luke and Vader and grappling over, will he turn? Can he soften Vader, and that dynamic? And then you throw the Emperor in, and kind of like that whole mental game of chess. I remember that being my favorite part of that. Grown up.
Very cool. Because I think I agree with you as I'm thinking about it, and you mentioning like the length of it. I think, to me, as a younger kid, I think the throne room threw me off of like the length of like you're in the battle of all these other things, and then you jump to the throne room and they're still talking.
Yeah, there's not as much
there's
action.
Well, it's not necessarily not as much, because like there is a lot once it gets started, but it just like it's the like Luke has to see his friends dying in order to be able to enact and stuff like that. So I would agree with like, yeah, especially with those things as a younger child. I think I can also remember like kind of fast forwarding through that, like, okay, get to the fighting.
Yeah, we just want to see the lightsaber part.
Yep. But yeah, no, very well done, and a great. I really enjoy that one. That one's kind of just a fun one to throw on, because you have to be in the right mood for like for Last Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, because they have that kind of darker ending, versus like that one's just like, hey, you need a pick me up, throw on Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
No, I would agree. I think it is a easier one to have on in the background than some of the other Star Wars movies.
All right, then let's dive into our Padmé
picks.
Padmé picks. So with our Speak Now, we again have a kind of a Taylor who's stepping out a little bit more on this album, and I definitely took a piece of that. For mine, I have Better Than again. So remember, I teased that it was not about Anakin, but the song I chose is Better Than Revenge, and who it is for. It is Padmé singing to the Trade Federation, stealing Naboo from her.
Whoa. Okay.
So we go a little semi-meta here, a little bit, because we started off with the story starts when it was hot and it was summer. Phantom Menace came out at the beginning of summer. So it did come out then.
Yeah.
And I had it all. I had him right where I wanted him. She came along, got him alone, and let's hear the applause. She took him faster than you could say sabotage. So this is Padmé talking about Naboo. She had just become queen, and she wanted to enact real change. The Trade Federation then came and took the planet from her. They sabotaged her reign and began the destruction of her beloved republic. Back into the song, I never saw it coming, nor would I have suspected it. I underestimated just who I was dealing with. And so she never saw it coming, still thinking the Trade Federation was going to follow Republic law, but she underestimated the corruption of who she was dealing with, because there's distinct moments where she's like, the Senate will not allow this, and she's assuming that they're going to continue to run through that kind of the Senate rule. Then we have, she had to know the pain was beating on me like a drum. She underestimated just who she was stealing from. So she is the Trade Federation of like, yep, they knew that the pain was hitting, like, because they wanted to inflict pain on her, but they underestimated just who they were stealing from. And so she hurt her planet as it was being occupied. The Trade Federation knew this and tried to use it against her to sign the treaty, but they underestimated her. She escaped, pleaded with the Senate, and eventually returned to liberate her planet.
Nice.
And then There's Nothing I Do Better Than Revenge is she extracted her revenge on, or tried to, in the movie she does, but then the Trade Federation gets away with it. But yeah.
That's a surprising pick. I wouldn't have put those together in that way, but I think it works.
Thank you. I was trying to be different and not only focus on Anakin.
Yeah, and I think you did a good job with that. Because, yeah, especially the sentiment that Taylor has in that song, Padme carries all throughout Phantom Menace, of like, I gotta get my planet back.
Yep.
I want this back. Mine is a very different pick.
Okay, finally we are different. Finally we don't have the same topic.
So my pick for Padme Amidala for Speak Now Taylor's version takes us into the Clone Wars animated series. And I picked Superman.
Interesting.
So for me, this song kind of summarizes Padme all throughout the Clone Wars for the most part. She can't show her true feelings in a lot of the Clone Wars because there are other present watching their moves. She is Anakin's biggest supporter most of the time, and she often plays the damsel in distress. We can have a discussion on that later, but she often does play the damsel in distress in the Clone Wars, so that kind of leads into the Superman theme. So going line by line, or not exactly line by line, but here's my justifications. Tall, dark, and Superman, he puts his papers in his briefcase and drives away to save the world or go to work. It's the same thing to me. And that's what Anakin the Jedi does. He goes to work and saves the world. He's got his mother's eyes, his father's ambition. I wonder if he knows how much that I miss him, and I hang on every word that you say. So Padme has actually met Shmi, Anakin's mother, and knows the goodness and kindness of Anakin's mother and sees that there. The father's ambition can be up for debate because Padme doesn't know it's a fatherless birth, but there's power there. Anyway, getting a little speculative in that one. Coming back to the lyrics. You smile and say, how are you? And I'll say, I'm just fine. I always forget to tell you, I love you. I love you forever. And so most of the time that they get to interact with each other in the Clone Wars animated series is in the presence of others. So the level of conversation that she can say, I love you, is not allowed until they're alone. And we only get little snippets of that. So yeah, she has to talk in code and hope that he gets it. So then we hit the chorus. I watch Superman fly away. You've got a busy day today. Go save the world. I'll be around. I watch Superman fly away. Come back. I'll be with you someday. I'll be right here on the ground when you come back down. So Padmé just waits for him. He's going off and she doesn't know if he's coming back or not. And she just has to hope. Tall, dark, and beautiful. He's complicated. He's so irrational. But I hope someday you'll take me away and save the day. So this is Anakin to a T, complicated and irrational. But Padme does want to run away with him and have a life. Something in his deep brown eyes has me singing. He's not as bad as his reputation. I can't hear one single word they say. Anakin does some awful things, but Padme turns the other cheek, except for that small chunk of season 5 with Rush Clovis.
Let's not talk about that.
Yep. Yes. And I watch you fly around the world, and I hope you don't take some other girl. I hope you don't forget about me. I'm far away, but I'll never let you go. I'm love-struck and looking out the window. Don't forget where I'll be. Right here, wishing the flowers were from you, wishing the card was from you, wishing the call was from you. because I loved you from the very first day. So it's just like all of these things that she can't say and all of these things that she wants and can't have. And it's just the hoping that after the war that they can be together. And she knows that, that you see it all throughout the propaganda, or not just propaganda. You see it all throughout like the Republic news of like Anakin Skywalker is saving this planet and that planet and being the superhero. And she's like, that's where he's needed, but I need him too. And she can't have that. So yeah, that is my pick.
That is such a good pick. Wow. Yeah. No, as I was listening to that, because I was even putting in my own justifications for that as well. Of like, he becomes this superhero, like the Republic puts him on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm. The
Especially
Jedi put him on a pedestal,
and the Jedi
too,
do too. But it's more of like the Republic, and that's by design with Palpatine and stuff like that. But of like, yeah, like and especially in the Clone Wars TV show, yeah, like he's viewed as this can do no wrong, and she's like, I still love you, and come back to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
like I'll be on the ground, like I'm grounded in reality. You're kind of not, and that's what goes to his head and stuff like that. But yeah, no. So yeah, that's a really good. That's an amazing pick, and I apologize for me putting my own spin on it, but I was just like, yeah, like that. As you were saying things, I'm just like, oh yeah, that works perfect, and if it works this way too, and this way too, so yeah, that was a great pick.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Yeah, it's not a song that comes up very often as I'm listening to Taylor Swift songs.
Oh, see, it's one of my favorite of that album. I just didn't know how to place it because again, I don't watch the Clone Wars as often as you do. You're in a Clone Wars rewatch right now.
I am.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm currently
So you're getting to see
rewatching and doing it in the chronological order. So like not in episodic order. So like if you just let it stream on Disney Plus, there's actually an order out there that they've put together of like chronological order in the events of the Clone Wars. So like you watch an episode from season 1 and then you go to season 3 and then you go back to season 2 and it eventually evens out where you can just kind of let the play next episode function happen. But I'm not to that point yet.
That's also really dumb.
It is. It is. But it also makes sense because I remember like watching it through the first time on a streaming service and you just played next episode and it's like we are in a totally different spot.
Okay, when you say it makes sense, what does that mean?
It makes sense of watching it in the chronological order that the actual. So they didn't put them in the right order, like when they were releasing them.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what doesn't make sense. Like yes, you do have to jump around, but I'm like, it makes no sense that they're not in order.
No, 100%.
That's
100% on that one.
No, okay, that's where I was just like, what do you mean it makes sense? Like yes, in order to get the full, there are episodes that are kind of just like, why is this here? What does this do? But yes,
yeah. So I will say, I think it makes more sense watching it this time through because I'm putting the arcs together as like they're supposed to be together,
right? Versus
like watching the first episode of a 3-part arc and then not getting the rest of it for like another half a season or another season and a half.
Does that mean I have to go rewatch the whole darn thing and maybe I'll like it better? Because we've talked about this a lot. But like if you love the Clone Wars, great. There's no criticisms here. Like Sarah loves the Clone Wars and stuff like that. I was just like, when I watched it, I was again wrong age. I was in my 20s and was kind of just pressured into watching it, but from a cousin, and it just wasn't. I never was drawn to it. Wasn't able to watch it when it came out with Disney or with.
I think it was like Cartoon Network.
It was Cartoon Network. Didn't have cable, so I wasn't able to watch that. And so then, like, just coming in late. It just wasn't for me. It caused more questions than answers, I think, for me. Like I know a lot of people like the details, and I'm like, it causes. I like the thoughts of what could have happened versus like, nope, this is what happened. Like this doesn't make a ton of sense. Because I remember having a problem not with the character herself, but like with Ahsoka. Of like Ahsoka's not mentioned in Revenge of the Sith. Like this makes no sense.
Yeah, how does Anakin
have a Padawan?
Yeah,
and
how
stuff
does
like
this
that.
happen?
So. I mean, I love the character now, and I liked her in the series. I was just like, without seeing it and everything, I was just like, this makes no sense.
I think you need to rewatch everything because, like, me going through the rewatch, it's like there were certain arcs I totally didn't even remember from season 1 because they're like not either that good or that important for the larger story. So I'm like, if you're going to do a rewatch, to me, it's like start with season 3 and move forward. Because that's where you start getting into more stuff with Mandalore. That's when Maul comes back. Sorry, spoilers, but not really. Like Maul comes back at that point. You start getting into, I think, richer parts of the story.
Okay, maybe. We'll see.
Who knows?
I mean, back to Taylor, like maybe I should just watch it and then listen to an album or something. I don't know. But yeah, like try to connect an album to a season. Oh my gosh, we could do that.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Something later down the line.
Yeah.
Well, there's only 7 seasons, but we could just pick which one, figure one out.
Yeah.
Season 1 debut already, right out there. Just kidding. But all right. Oh, you have something to say?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So again, I have a guilty pleasure for taking BuzzFeed quizzes.
Yes.
So I took one that's titled, "Which iconic Taylor Swift song are you?" from the perspective of Padmé. And I got a song off of Speak Now. So we're going to talk about it now. And I got Mean. The justification is feisty and passionate. You love deeply and passionately. God help anyone who does you wrong, but the person you fall in love with should consider themselves the luckiest person alive. You wear your heart on your sleeve and you aren't afraid to show it. So that honestly kind of captures both of the songs that we picked. I don't think it's the best description for the song Mean. Like the personality fits.
The personality fit. Yes, that's where I'm kind of struggling of like that doesn't really fit Mean, in my opinion. But like I would agree the description. That's where I was just like, I don't see Mean, and then it was describing, and I'm like, that's a description. Like that works, but I just don't see that for that song.
Yeah.
So, okay. But yeah, interesting. I mean, we've been hitting the personalities at least are pretty good. I'm surprised.
Yeah. So I will give people who make these clickbait internet quizzes that tip of the hat.
Like the personalities are okay.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily the song selection, but
yeah,
we'll see. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that was just for funsies.
Very cool. I appreciate you doing that because that is... I take my time. That's kind of Sarah's job. My job is editing the podcast, so
I get the fun job.
She gets the fun job. Yes,
he's so nice.
I get to listen to myself talk all the time. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to us. If you want to get in contact with us at all, we would love to hear from you. We are on Blue Sky at Sandy Feelings. And then we are also do social media with Instagram and Threads. We take messages and stuff like that, not so much interacting on the site, but we're at the Sand Hurts My Feelings pod. Then we're also, again, taking notes and stuff like that on Facebook, the Sand Hurts My Feelings podcast. But if you want to get a hold of us through the good old-fashioned email, which we have communicated with a couple times with our friends, with some friends we found, we have the Sand Hurts My Feelings pod @gmail.com. We greatly appreciate all of you listeners. Please like, subscribe, and review, rate, give us 5 stars, and it helps get the algorithm and gets us in front of more people, helps us grow. I mean, we just enjoy talking about Taylor, so this is all gravy. But
if others listen, it's gravy.
Others listen to it gravy, but we just really enjoy talking about it. But we want to be able to make sure that we can get out there, and cause we've heard from some people that it's really we know we're niche, but it's really fun when you find something that's super niche for you. So yeah, hope y'all have a great spring. We're getting in that movement, and hope you're all safe and happy where you're at. And always remember, may the force be with you
forever and always.
May the force be with you
forever and always. Yeah.